Oh, good Lord. I know it's been a long time, y'all. If you understood what it is to me, you'd understand why I'm smiling so hard right now. You know how I do? I shoot from the hoop, the hip. I do love basketball, and I was told it's playtime. So, I may fumble with words because for those of you that have watched my videos and understand who I refer to as Jesus, you would understand he's very excited right now, and it's almost like I can't contain it, and he wants me to do a video. And he told me I'd have another video. I don't know if this is the last, because the last one he said would be to CNN, which is crazy, but not at this point. It was crazy when he told me, but it's crazy to me not crazy to me right now. So I'm kind of fumbling over things because his excitement is, I'm not used to it on this level. And I haven't done a video in a while. So here we go. He wants me to say some things and help you guys understand what's to come. There's many reasons why he had me stop doing the videos. I'm not going to get into all that right now because it's so extensive and would take a lot of time. What he wants me to visit with you guys is what I meant all this time about the switch and the flip of power coming. When I first mentioned it maybe a couple years ago, maybe more. I had a great idea of what that meant, but I did not know it in its full capacity, because with witches and sorcerers, or whatever we want to call the people, the extraterrestrials that have certain powers that can tap into our minds. You know, some are gifted with that, to be able to tap into one's mind and their thoughts. There's things he couldn't communicate to me because in my wiring, I replay things and I analyze, and the wrong people basically could hear what's being communicated on telephone line, if you know what I'm saying. So there's a lot he could only tell me once it was like signed, sealed, delivered, and then I could relay it to you guys. And the thing is, in my path and journey, it was just to listen and do what I was told. And I've done that since before I could remember speaking. He says 2. I would first communicate to people 3, because I was trying to judge based on the time when I lived in a particular house, because it was a very particular time frame of like between 3 and 5 years of age. And before that, actually, because I was in diapers there. So anyways, but what I'm trying to get to is, in my journey, he explained the chaos theory also. And on top of why I can't know everything, because of the grandmasters that can hear, see, know what's the next move, basically, and then the plan is ruined. And that's why people say, don't tell people your dreams. It's like, because there are some people that will block you along the way, and not even just the commoner. You know, we're talking about more high level people, you know, not humans. And sorry, he's coming with a whole lot of stuff right now. What do you want me to tell them first? Like, he wants me to tell you about the switch and the flip. So what that meant, where I was like finalized on the switch and the flip. In a nutshell, he summarized it as there will be a change of power. So like, everyone that's walked a righteous path, and don't get scared, it's not like you were perfect, but your compassion was there. You wouldn't sell somebody out. You wouldn't sell yourself out. Or maybe you did sell yourself out at some point, but you wouldn't throw somebody into the fire, you know. And the whole thing that God, or the gods, forgive babies and fools, that's true. Because with before we're like 13 or so, it just depends on the individual, because some come into this world as a fucking 2-year-old. They are elevated, they have their memory, and they are a grown person mentally, whether they let you know that or not. I'm gonna be kind of fast moving here, because at this level y'all should kind of get what I'm saying, and time and patience, you know, I'm just giving to you the best I can in the heat of the moment. Okay, so with the switch and the flip, back to that. The switch and the flip with the change of power is the most simple terms to understand it. The more extensive terms to understand it, and the depth of it is, this is gonna blow your guys' mind, but I'm pretty sure y'all are gonna be like, holy fucking shit, now this makes sense. Like, why does Selena not look like Selena? Why are all these people popping up that are doppelgangers? Well, I'm here to give it to you. So, when I was growing up in Portland, Oregon, before, like, say, Lil Wayne hit the scene, and before everything changed from the feel-good, love-making music to Ching Chang, you know, about cars and money and bitches and hoes, where it was still about, like, everybody dance now, yeah, you know, and people danced by themselves. And when they did do like a circle to dance and show their skills, it wasn't like, I'm better than you. It was like, yeah, we just get out, show where we're at, and we just have a good time. It wasn't like in your face. So before the era changed to that, they were talking about making cloned meat. And they actually released cloned meat, meaning they were cloning animals and putting it on the shelves at the store. I don't know how long it took before they said, we're not going to do that no more. But there was this inner knowing I had that was not so, because there was too many people eating meat, and there was no way to grow animals naturally to supply that. And that's a whole nother thing. The other thing is, my mother wouldn't let us have McDonald's. And my mother was my earth mother, and she was very enlightened. So I'm just going to drop that seed in there. She'd rarely let us have fast food, rarely let us have junk food. Okay, so the whole idea I'm trying to get you guys on is the ideology around clones. If they did it with animals, they can do it with any life form. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you started to see in time, as the years passed, people were mixing certain like bugs with another bug and calling it a hybrid. Okay, well, they were throwing it all in our face, and either some people were taking note, paying full attention, and reflecting and processing on it, or some people were just like, too much for me, I don't want to know about it. Well, the thing is, in short, around that time they were also talking about the test tube babies, and I'm, you know, a kid. What do you mean test tube baby? Like, what does that mean? You know, through the years, I honestly didn't understand until the capacity of it till now, till this year. And so the switch and the flip, and then I know I'm kind of going, I'm trying to keep it, but bear with me, because I'm giving it to you better than, I won't say better than, with the chaos theory and how Jesus gives me the information. It's like giving me 1,000, like a 100,000 piece puzzle, and tell me to put it together. And I finally put the 100,000 piece puzzle together. Okay? So have patience with me, because in the big scheme of it, not that I'm necessarily giving it better to you, I'm giving it better to you as far as a chronological order. Okay? And you should be intelligent enough. If you're not, open this chat up with your friends to what I'm saying. And between y'all should come to an understanding. So the switch and the flip that we've been waiting to happen has been happening the last like 3 or 4 years on a major way. Like a fast track way. and behind the scenes kind of way. So what it is whether you know it or not, this world has what people call grandmasters. We normally only heard about that in the Aryan nation type of thing, the white supremacists, right? And I'm going to blow you guys' mind to understand why they were so mean and wanting you guys not to cross-mix, cross-breed. There was value to that, whether y'all know it or not. And by the time I get done with my messages to you, it won't be at the end of this message, but understand there was value, actually value and power for everyone in that if people didn't crossbreed. And you might look at me and be like, but you're mixed. And, everything can be turned into lemons into lemonade, right? Okay, so that's what I was. But you guys are going to have a deeper understanding of why they were so hateful, why they're so mean, by the time I'm done telling y'all what Jesus wants me to tell you. So you have your grandmasters, you have your masters. And don't get lost in the labels. I'm always saying that. Don't get lost in titles. Don't get lost in labels. It's a way to help you guys understand energy and circumstances. Call it whatever you want. It's like everyone calls this man Jesus Christ. I call him Jesus. Okay, some refer to this person that has been heard of over time as Yeshua. Some refer to him as God. And some of us know that God is a body of people that make up one, meaning they all operate under a certain set of universal law, an agreement, one, okay? But there are many gods, and they all have these crazy, awesome powers. And let me tell you, he showed me who Storm is. And you guys are going to be so crazy surprised that a lot of these Marvel characters are actual extraterrestrial individuals. Moving right along. Because I know it's kind of like I keep getting these cliffhangers, but I'm not trying to. These grandmasters, ETs, they're not supposed to mix, okay? They got banished to this realm, Earth, from their realm, okay? So there's others, vampires, in another realm. Some are cannibals, some are meat eaters, some maybe are both, right? My understanding is they kind of stick to one. One either really likes the blood and not so much the meat, and one really likes the meat. And they typically will, order their steak rare, right? And this is gonna blow on you, man. I am a vampire, but that's not all that I am. I decided to be vegan because I didn't agree with my family that liked to eat meat. I didn't agree with eating animals, right? But it was more so forced upon me in an energetic way that I acquired the taste for meat. But what I flavor it with herbs, plants, right? I wasn't eating meat unless I flavored it with plants. And in all of this, you guys are going to learn what demons are, what vampires are, what humans are, and what an extraterrestrial is, what a witch is, and how someone can be a combination of a few or one, okay? And the different realms. I still don't know all the different planets and realms, okay, and the different type of creatures, but I have come to understand and learn about a lot of them. So the important part is there's a race, and it's pure blood vampires. Typically, a lot of them are albino. And listen, that doesn't mean they're bad people. Unfortunately, like many races or cultures, they're known for stereotypes that are pleasing or unpleasant. They're fitting because the majority operates that way. So don't get lost in what I'm saying, because I personally had a thing against just the fiction of vampires. And when I learned that they're not fiction, and I was even more and then it was slowly revealed, but you are part vampire, and we actually all are. That's why so many people sometimes look very washed out, because they haven't reached the sun. That's why certain vampires, a lot of them live in the purebloods, live in Alaska. It's why you hear about the witch hunts in Africa when there is an albino, because they're the pure blood vampires, and they come with their own type of strength. Each creature, because they're shape-shifting, if you're a high-level god within your race, you're a deer, you're an elk, you are a moose, you're even a fucking cockroach, and some shift from small to little, like they're magical. It's real, it's all real, right? So there's grandmasters of each race, okay? And the ones that were banished to Earth, which was land of the demons, and don't get offended where I'm going here, okay? Which were blacks. They happen to be very black skinned, like what we typically call, like, say, African American or Jamaican or something, okay? Not all of them are bad. Not all of them look crazy. Not all of them look evil. But the thing is, their occupancy was Earth. And in the rest of the universe, those that weren't behaving, say, on their planet, or they were too powerful and the darkness hiding under the light on those planets, remove them, banish them to Earth, or banish them to a middle realm, which was where the vampires originally were. And they eventually, a lot of the like royals got killed off, and you'll see it in Game of Thrones. That's what Game of Thrones is about. The middle realm was vampires, and it's the Dark Ages because they don't like sunlight. They like the cold, okay? That's the truth of it. Those are the pure blood vampires. They live in a middle realm that Jesus has described to me. Basically, like, they're not the lowest level, but I don't know how, because they're right there with the demons to me, but apparently they're not, okay? And I can see why he says that. But the bottom line is, like, there's these levels of low vibration, right? Sexual onto consciousness. Well, that's basically like these realms are, or planets are in, depending on the mass body of the occupants. Demons are at the lowest because a lot of them operate in low vibe sexual energy. Vampires aren't that high from there because they're very parasitical, not just on sex. Oh, and demons are cannibals. So you'll hear, like, take a look back at Kamehameha the first. He was the ET. He could lift the stone in Hawaii, right? He conquered all the islands. He was actually a good ET, but my understanding is he was a cannibal. That's where he's wrong. His predecessors, those that followed after him, my understanding is they all watered down because they invited Sam Cooke and Mark Twain, who were vampires, and they're white, and they took over the island with Kamehameha's descendants, and the whole island got watered down by the French, by the Italians, the Germans, and so on. But the main ones, really, they overtook Samoa, and Samoa was too long. I mean, is that how I'm saying? And they overtook Samoa and come to the Hawaiian Islands. And it's like, I'm like, what do I tell you guys? What do I not, to nutshell this? Because it's a lot of great information, and I'll just have to continue upon it some other time. The islands were too small that they moved to the Hawaiian Islands and grew and got bigger. If you have been to Hawaii, it's the language based off of German language, but also the Maori. And the Maori goes deeper back to what people would refer to as Asian, but it's not as simply put as Asian. The Maori are the true ones that do haka, and the Hawaiians have a very big lesson that they're going to learn about their ways, and the ones that are racist against blacks. Because it's like, look at Kamehameha again, because he's Jamaican roots as far as what portal that body of people came in, and they were black, okay, like black. And Kamehameha is who established on these Hawaiian Islands, but he was an ET. He lifted this huge ass rock that people were wondering, how did he do that? And that made him king. He conquered all the islands, I'm giving it to you on fast speed because there are some people who know what the hell I'm talking about, and you know, we can always get to the rest later. A lot is about to change in the next couple days, so I'm trying to get this out. And I am definitely, I realize I grew up as someone who overcame autism, but those things are still inside of you. You know, I overcame the vaccinations that they put on some of us, that made people call us autistic. And that one of those things is like ADHD and focus and dyslexia. And that's what I'm giving to you on speed because I'm a person that my energy, I'm also channeling, and to stay so focused on something is very, it's a lot of work, okay? So pause and rewind if you have to do your research. You got Kamehameha, who was banished here. I haven't looked into why he is, but is my lineage. I didn't know that. But the thing is, I'm a mix of many nations, and so he's just one of them, okay? Where the switch and the flip comes in is because, number one, people have a misunderstanding about the true culture of this world. Who came in through what portal, like, say, India? Who came in and what creature they are, let's say, okay? Who came in to Italy and what creature are they? Who came into Spain and what creature are they? If you connect the dots, you see there's a lot of like Spanish-speaking countries because descendants parted. They wanted, their tribes or their packs didn't want to be next to one of the other packs that were all part of their one. And it could be because of cannibalism. It could have been because of blood drinking. And that's to be understood because, see, the vampires in their Viking ways scouted out amongst the universe, and they went and infiltrated all of these other planets, stole children to Earth, stole adults to the middle realm, like what they call royals, because they were royal where they come from, okay? They stole them to the middle realm so they would never be seen or heard, acted like they were taking them to some discipline camp with their family. And then some of their family members were just so wretched, they didn't want someone more powerful than in the family that they set them up to be stolen. And as above, so below, you see the trafficking that's going on in this earthly realm. Well, that's what happened in the big scheme of the universe. So guaranteed, a lot of you enlightened ones, not the humans, okay? You guys were probably stolen, trafficked, basically, to either be a slave of some sort, okay? Now, what is a human? A human is a test tube baby. The test tube baby is the DNA of an extraterrestrial created with another one, meaning they didn't really, see, like vampires can't mate and have a baby, okay? So they went to these other planets to get people, literally their DNA, mate with them, you know, to be able to, in a non-mortal life, it gets pretty fucking boring, right? You think you never die. So they've had all this time to cultivate, be bored, and they basically made robots. So the humans and the test tube babies are a combination of a grandmaster vampire who's of white skin, pale white skin, right? The probably red eyes in the very, very, very beginning. Those are the blood drinkers, the ones with the red eyes. Very pale skin vampires going to say, what's that? Wakanda. But it's not Wakanda, say Terenza, because there's a real fucking planet, from my understanding, is Terenza. And they go and infect that planet with overtaking them, and they're diluting their color, their bloodline, by mixing with theirs. And they steal the people, or there's some people that mate with them, because there are vampires and demons in other planets. It doesn't mean that they look, I'm like, fuck. I'm digging like a bigger can of worms, making a bigger can of worms. Okay, let me pause on that because that's going to send you guys off on the wrong way, because not all other planets, they were infected by vampires. Okay, so like one race went to another race, stole their people, mated with their people, whether the person knew that they're a vampire or not, impregnated them, and or they made a test tube baby with their DNA and that of someone in another race that can make babies, okay? So think about that for a minute. Then the really wretched ones created a middle realm and said, we're going to kill, like Game of Thrones. I haven't watched all the way through, but we're going to kill all the royals, put them in this middle realm. We're going to rule the universe, okay? But we're going to make a playground on Earth where the demons' house is, okay? We're not going to be in the dark where the vampires live. And where the vampires are from, they send their bad people to Earth. They mix with the demons, which are black looking, African looking, okay? And then you start to have all of this mixing and matching, because those that came into the portal of France, you got the French grandmasters coming over to fucking Africa, coming over to everywhere up in there, Nigeria, Ghana, Egypt, mixing with those people, whether they realized that they were with an extraterrestrial or not. A full-on ET, because I'm gonna rewind. In the middle realm, that's where they created the test tube babies. Okay, and then they sent them to Earth to be. Well, you got to think, they're royals. They're tired of. They don't want to work, so they've created their own slaves by making the test tube babies. Right. Then they started. A lot of them that become to Earth, either banished to Earth or chose to live to Earth to take over it, and wanting to experience love. They have all these families. Some pick up and drop families. But the thing is, when the Galactic Federation found this out, they came down and was like, you wasn't even supposed to be making humans, first of all, which is like in their mindset a robot that's with flesh, but yet they found out they have souls. Okay, you guys aren't supposed to be doing that. So what you need to do, this is my understanding, is you need to live underground if you want to be on Earth or go back where you come from. But the demons can't go nowhere because Earth is their space. But they knew not what they were not supposed to do as extraterrestrials. The thing is, with the body swap, the switch, right? The guy who came in and was imprisoned, Nelson Mandela, for all that time, it wasn't the real Nelson Mandela. It was the guy infiltrating people with the demon blood, okay? And he didn't tell his people, be from Ghana, be from Nigeria, that they're not supposed to mix. There's others within that knew they weren't supposed to mix, but they used it as a tool to take over. And that's why you probably hear about Ghana the most, Nigeria the most. That's who your true Cain and Abel is from. That's listed in the Bible. There's a lot of backwards, contradictory shit in there. The division between Cain and Abel here on Earth is a whole lot. Bottom line is they both fucked up, okay? So they were supposed to tell their people, the blacks, people like us, people darker than I, don't mix. You're not supposed to mix. And there's specific reason that you'll understand if they would have just explained it, and they did not. They just quiet because, number one, that wasn't the real Nelson Mandela. He was in Nelson Mandela's body, taking over that part of the world to have his playground, so to speak. Okay? This must be a lie. Hold on. Because I'm like, am I doing too much? He's like, yeah, what do you want me to stick to? He wants me to just be quick and simplify it. And I'm feeling like I got to tell you more about it. So let me get quicker and simplify it. There's clones. Test tube babies. You can refer to them all kinds of ways. That were created in the middle realm. Brought to Earth to be slaves of some sort. Then you have the celebrities who are ET/human, because it was an ET that took their DNA and mixed it with human blood and made more slaves. And then they made a number of them. You know, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? And many reasons why they made quite a few of them. With the celebrities, where that became a tool with like Hollywood, is if one was getting too old, they swap out for a clone, and the celebrity was moved to the middle realm, never to be heard of, seen of again. And that's why there's a lot of artists that people are like, I don't think they're dead. They're right. Because number one, unless you're completely human, you do not die. What happens is your actual body, when your soul dies, your soul will go back to your actual body. So this is where it gets interesting. People that are ET stolen to this realm, our bodies have been held under Christian churches and under Catholic churches. And I was told this a while ago, and then Jesus proved it to me with a church in Brazil showing me a camera inside with 3 men in a construction-like shirt, but it's clean as ever, but someone's recording them, and you know in their temples, they're not going to allow that, a camera, period. For those of you that don't know, people don't allow cameras in their temple. You have to be part of the church to be in the temple to begin with. And I'm seeing this recording of what he already told me and confirmed, that they found the house of bodies. And what that is the bodies of the ET/humans. They've held our bodies hostage and put us in human bodies. And then they took our DNA and made clones of us. Okay, so that's why people have doppelgangers and running into people like, oh my God, they look really close to me, like they could be my twin. They made in Brazil them dig up the body because they're retrieving the body of Paul McCartney. As small as the body was, the true Paul McCartney is actually smaller, and the one that's living, if he still is not really Paul McCartney. So the movie Get Out, go watch that, because this is what I'm describing to you guys in this very moment. Everything in the movies is a little bit altered. It's not quite how it is, but by the time you put your puzzle piece together, you will see where the truth lies. Okay, so the Get Out is what's been happening, okay, especially with the celebrities, and definitely with those that have been lost and stolen here. The switch and the flip is because all of these number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that they have made to profit over, once either they traumatized their first celebrity so bad that they can't go on and perform anymore, or that they might have a conscience with the divine of light, that they won't speak untruths, they replace them with the clone. What they did is they took the Grandmasters and they switched them out in these last few years while they've been collecting everybody for Earth, from Earth to either go to the new planet or go home. Some may stay on this new Earth, on Earth, after all of the destruction, because they've got a lot that they have to figure out and work through. But they'll also be with the vampires that are going through their own evolution as humans. But the thing is that it will end in non-existence for the vampires. I don't know yet. It's to be understood later if those that get left on New Earth for the beginning of their journey, if they will transpire or expire with the vampires. Okay, and the whole thing is with the vampires. Well, first let me complete the switch and the flip. So what they did is they took the Grandmasters and the Masters of these celebrities that are using them like puppets, and they did the switch and put them in the body. That's why you'll see people like Jennifer Lopez was on the right path and doing songs like I'm on My Way, and she was started being more conservative with her attire, and then all of a sudden she totally reversed. It's because they switched her out with who was a grandmaster to her and made them walk through her shoes, kind of like walking in Jesus' shoes. Well, they said, all right, we're gonna make these people walk through the shoes of one of their most traumatized people, or one of their greatest, puppets. And so that's why you might be confused about a lot of these celebrities. Why does Selena not look like Selena? Because it's fucking not. Why does Orlando Bloom just seem so crazy, psychotic? Like he was this cute little kid. He's Master is in his body now. The movie Get Out. Check it out. And listen to what I'm saying and check it out. And then you're going to start, your mind is hopefully enlightened, and you're going to start seeing things more for what they are. Again, don't get lost in the title of a vampire and a demon, because the thing is, the demon blood is in a lot of us. There's some, it's the pure bloods that are a bit scary, you know, to be honest. And like any other race or culture, doesn't mean all of them are. But there's certain things, and this goes to the Asians too. Oh my God, get an Asian vampire. Some stayed underground like they were supposed to as far as extraterrestrials, and then others got lost in vanity and jumped out from the camera. They weren't getting consequences. They weren't seeing the Galactic Federation, because that was corrupt like the fucking US government and the government many other places. So everyone's screaming to a government to be fair, but they're extraterrestrials that do, they call them soulless, because I don't think they're completely soulless, but there's probably like an ounce that gives a shit about anyone that's not of their race, you see. So it really does come down to a personal choice. And so the divine has had to sort through the records of time to see which ETs, which now human and ETs, and even humans are of a good consciousness and good heart. There's way more humans on this planet, slaves, than there are ET humans, and then there are ETs. Okay, so it's been getting sorted through these last like 3 to 4 plus years heavily. You know, it's been looked into prior, but it's really been taken action on these last 3 to 4 years to correct and take us all home. Home, those for us that have walked a pretty righteous path, and you can't fool or bullshit. And those that have not, that were willing to sell somebody out or make money, leading people to follow me, you know, their vanity, and they really don't have substance of how to get up out of Earth. They will have to go through a journey on Earth, the new planet, before they can go home, because home is not going to take them tainted. They sent them to discipline camp, or some of them sent them out because they were too powerful. The too powerful righteous will go home, and the bad misbehaved ones, you got something to go through, but you'll be okay. I'm gonna turn this light on. Now, all the sicknesses and all of that, that's the ET's way of trying to wipe you guys out, so the records of time can't trace shit back to them, but it's too late. Why is it too late? Because, as Jesus told me, I was the last one to pick up, and I'm next. So all of this change in Hollywood, where people like Justin Bieber, Jennifer Lopez's changed, and Miley Cyrus is changed. You guys are looking at their grandmasters that don't have no freaking boundaries or moral compass, and think that sex is the answer, and they're still trying to get paid instead of their third or fourth or fifth, who knows, chance to get it right. I was sent around the U.S. and finally to this Hawaiian Islands to meet so many of these royals that are grandmasters. And I didn't know it at the time, of course, but now I understand it, and who they are in my own personal upbringing, and the trauma that they've brought upon me, and the practical magic that they've brought upon me. I have had to endure during this time of them gathering up all of these celebrities, all of the commoners that, well, they're not really so common, and that are maybe like enlightened, to say the least. While I've endured all of this pain and attack, they ETs that do want their children home and to go to the new planet have come. The two motherships, my understanding, are here. They've been here. There's sub like motherships, and then there's really big motherships, because one is going to go to the new planet and one is going to take people home that really did the work. Not that just went to church on Sunday. The ones that are truly righteous and would suffer like myself and be without a job, be under practical magic attack, be denied social services, live on the street, and not sell out the next person or themselves. Those are the righteous that get to go home. The ones of you that were willing to be like, follow me for a bunch of views and all of this, and lie about your divine message and actually act like you got the message, or who knows, you're listening to the dark side delivering dark messages as though they were light. You guys will go to the new planet, and that is a gift, actually. And then the gift of non-existence will eventually be given to the soulless, I will call them at that point, the ones that were not willing to change, the soulless vampires. Are they completely soulless? No, but they were so detrimental that they didn't get it by the time I swooped around, that they mistreated me. They tried to have me thinking I was crazy. They can actually participate in powers against me where, like, one can cloak, one can teleport, and then bring in someone who can make me sick or twist my body up. And that's why you'll see people a lot that like autism, because the vaccinations fucked them up. Or you'll see people that are really fat but they don't eat a lot, they're under attack and their body is expanding. They could be under attack by the light or the dark. The thing is, though, a lot of us got labeled autistic. I didn't get labeled it because I wasn't never sent to diagnose it, but I got set at this small table. I was very socially awkward as far as how I felt inside. I pulled myself out. I had dyslexia as a kid. Of course, I didn't know to call it that, but I got set at the small table, and I wouldn't take the fluoride that they was making us feel like we had to take in school. I had my own compass. I was following an energy since I was 2 that was not of my family. That's my earth family. And now I finally understand who they are in the big scheme of this. And I would tell people, like, I don't know, my whole family, we seem like emperor energy. And we're just independent. And so we just do our own thing. You know, it's not that, you know, there's things that bring us together, and there's things, you know, we just lead different lives. And there's things that I don't appreciate, and things that I did, but collectively, I'm done with that family. They're not my family. Jesus said they weren't. And now I understand why he said they weren't, because they weren't. And now I understand why I couldn't get help, because, see, this is the thing. The vampires and the demons, their hierarchy will tell them, you do not help that person. And so, like, there's even, like, a royal family that Jesus showed me recently. You'll see one of the girls, she's always, like, getting love from the mother and the father. And then this other girl, she's just on the outside. They won't touch her. They don't show love to her. They, like, even push her away if she gets too close. And as Jesus brought it to me, he's like, because some people aren't to be touched. How did you grow up? And I was like, Ma wasn't there very much. She was very mean, except in certain situations where it was, like, really healing. And he's like, and people told you have healing hands, like, I'm like, my mother. And he's like, but did she always have healing hands? And I'm like, no. And he's like, I can do what? I was like, shapeshift. And I was like, that was you. That was you who took care of me when I was sick. That was you who caressed me. That's you who I feel even now. And he's like, yes, you're my lineage. That is not your family. So I came in to take care of you. There's many things that have happened to you. You were trafficked. And I've erased your memory so you don't remember those times. And you and your twin sister. And I was like, what? And he's like, well, how do you think you got to the church when you were barely 3 years old? And I was like, I walked and I followed the energy to the church. And I'm like, was it particular to the church? She's like, no, the church don't matter. Have I involved you in any of the churches seriously? And I'm like, no. See, they're messing with me right now because they don't want this message to get to you guys. They can cloak and bring people in. They're watching me through my phone. They're watching y'all through your phone. They have grandmasters that are great at attacking you, one especially of light from all angles. But I'm going to get this message out. And trust me, when I get these messages out, I pay for it on my body like a blowfish. You touch a blowfish, what happens? That's what happens to me. I literally blow up. When Jesus heals me, I will literally go right back down. But I've been so much under constant attack the last 2 years. Oh my God, it's been traumatic. But as he was saying, is he was going through his question, of this and that, and he's like, you are not to be touched. And they all know you are not to be touched. They don't know who exactly you are, but you're royal, and I told them not to touch you, so they all have a very big price to pay. Furthermore, anyone who has touched you will experience severe consequences. If they hit you, they will miss a finger, a limb. It depends. The severity of the consequence. If they punched you, they're probably going to be missing an arm. If they slapped you, they're probably going to be missing an arm. And he's laid it all out for me. And I've been physically assaulted by so many people. And the thing is, I've restrained them all. Most of them. I haven't hit. I'm trying to think of who I've actually punched. I can't think of it right now. Oh, one at an Eco Village, because the bitch was relentless and she ripped my entire shirt and a sports bra off of me. And at the time, I didn't know it, but I was only on 1/3 of my blood. So ETs can live a very long time without water, anything. And that's why you'll see some crazy shit happen where they might get hit by a car and they walk away and you're like, you just totally got run over by a fucking car, boom, boom, boom. How are you walking? ETs may not always recover that fast too, because if they're under the spiritual warfare attacks, it may be very, very hard. And with my earth twin sister, as Jesus eventually finally revealed to me, he's like, well, what did I do to your sister? And I'm like, what do you mean? What did you do? And he's like, well, what happened when you were younger? I was like, I don't know. He's like, there was 3 people, right? And I was like, oh my God, a brother and sister I grew up with and the twin sister were in a car accident. And I'm usually with them almost every day. And this particular day, I was not with them. I made friends with 2 sisters that were very much church oriented, but cool and around the way, and I was at their house. But I felt it. I felt when my sister was seeing the light twice, as she puts it. She saw the light twice, which means she is part ET. She's part ET and human. I'm straight up ET, but she's ET human. So she transitioned, and if you are in your actual body, you transition back to your body. So she was dying, but she's coming back to her body. This was why she saw the white light twice. I came in this world off of her DNA. So when people say, well, what happened when they say Jesus was born? That, I don't have the word for it. When it's basically a miracle, someone didn't have sex. Well, a lot of twins are born that way. And they're ETs oftentimes. At least one of them is full ET. The other one probably ET/human. So that's how I come into this world. They didn't know I was even here until 2 weeks before I was being born. They thought my mother was only having one, because I'm full ET. Anyways, he took out my sister and took out the so-called childhood friends because they weren't really, and he wanted me separated from them. My sister was ill for a whole year. She was so skinny that her clothes were baggy. But the thing is, she'll defend me, don't get me wrong, but she'll also talk behind my back shit that's not true. And she'll also whoop someone's ass for me. It was all backwards. But the thing is, she'll also hit or try to hit me. And after our accident, it weakened her to a point where we were no longer like a match, to where we tussle and both run out of breath. But as an adult, she kept trying to fight me and beat me up just because she lost her cool. Just because she was mad after something, I don't know, that happened, that she transferred that energy to her and I, and it ruined our relationship to this day. But the reality is she was never really my twin. He always painted this picture, Jesus did, you're like Cinderella, those are your evil stepsisters. And when I confront them, it's gonna be something. And I'm like, whoa, really? Even though there's many things that I didn't like growing up with them. They're very scrutinizing. They'll be like, you look like shit. And that's like, fuck you, I just went through some shit. Very just put you down, you know? And then in the rare, seldom instances lift you up. It was so backwards for me, you know? So I was very confused about what real love was, and I allowed love in from, I was fooled easy about who cared about me and loved, because if they showed me right up front love and respect more than my family, I thought they were good people, but it turned out they weren't. And then when you guys start to realize the, like, why love spell came up is because these grandmasters that have been all around me trying to keep me down, because I am powerful, because maybe you are powerful, they send to us their bad children for us to enlighten and to lift up and keep happy, knowing their children are going to tear us down at some point. So they're like population control, slave control, because then they get us depressed, and then we don't want to do things with other people or progress in life, and we don't become closer to God. But for some of us, we do. And so, do anything else? He says that's it for now. So that was a pretty fucking big nutshell, I know. And the best I have to offer you guys is, if you want to know more about your circumstance, I can tell you. Because I am the second coming, everyone has it wrong. And it sounds too crazy for me to tell people, but people do get put in the wrong body, and I was put in the wrong body. I could even show you the picture that Jesus said he drew of me when I was in the right body. You guys will start to understand why the reason why they could get away with doing clones is because a lot of people amongst the universe, there's packs in that universe, and they all look alike. And so they got away with that under the eye of the Galactic Federation and the corruption of the Federation by making clones, because it's kind of like, if you, like, let's just take Australia and the Aboriginals, and you look and they're like, God, that's a lot of people, and they say they inbreed and whatnot. Well, it's kind of like, say, like Twilight. He showed me through Twilight, like, you can't help who you're imprinted on. And you, some packs, you just all look alike. And not that Twilight showed that, but like, I'm using the Aboriginals to give you an example. God, there's a lot of truth in Twilight that, you go watch that, go watch Wheel of Time, go watch, Get Out, go, watch some of the series I've mentioned in my other, videos, and you're gonna start seeing the world for what it is. The reason why you see Snow White in a glass casket waiting to be, I think, awoken by a kiss, because I don't think I've ever watched it all the way through. And that's why I'm so positive about everything in my life, because I only watch what Jesus tells me to watch. And I'm so glad I listened, because years since I was 3 of due diligence and listening to something I couldn't see is why I have such great confirmations now. And I know I'm not tripping, because people have made movies about it, and he's actually one of the writers behind the scene for the ones that lead people to the light. So Snow White and Seven Dwarfs is one of the truths. A lot of the fairy tales are have the truth. The reason why she's in a coffin asleep, like a lot of you, or a lot of the people you guys will be talking to, is because she needs to connect consciously with her ancestors. Promise, some people have some really fucked up ancestors that don't want them to come up out of there. And those are the only ones connecting with them, so they may be lost forever. That's the problem. But if you are righteous, you will be led to another righteous person who has ancestors that can connect with your ancestors, that care through diligence and listening and finding out who you are. It's basically like, here's the flower of life, and here's the middle part, and here's how it branches out. And there's all these little DNA connective parts for each, like, say, circle. And we all start here, we all start from way out here and try to work our way to the whole, the one, right? And we may not know, say, imagine the flower of life around what I'm talking about right here, okay? Look it up, flower of life, sacred geometry, okay? And then you'll understand the connective points that I'm talking about that can lead you boom, 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 right into the next layer, okay? Home, okay? So imagine you're way out here, you haven't woken up yet, and you only know the mailroom clerk, and he only knows Johnny over here, okay? But let's say Susie over here, she knows freaking Shantae and Devontae, and they're a little bit, they've got linkage to, say, outside of the mailroom, they've got to the secretary, right? And then say that the secretary is one of their cousins, but she kicks it with someone who's friends with the CEO. So you see, they have more and more connection closer to the boss, okay, God, right? So depending on how far you are out, depends on how much lineage you have, okay, to connect to, be your own or someone else's. And if you ain't got friends, if you ain't got nobody, but you got friends that can help you get to where you're kicking it and rubbing with the boss, and I'm not talking about the bosses of Hollywood, well, now you have so many people that are important that can work for you, that might care for you because you're living a righteous life, and say, I want to help that person. Not the Hollywood and the sponsorship, that's a whole nother flower. It's not a flower of life, it's a flower of death. Okay, so you either on the flower of life, or you on the flower of death, or you riding that fence in between and bouncing back and forth. It's a lot of work. You can't do both. You don't get to do both. You got to start from the outside and work your way in. You have to start from the outside of all this bullshit around us and work your way into your own feeling. And then you're on a journey, because at first they only whisper, and you got, the closer you get to that center, you have that dark side teleporting and cloaking and coming over to fucking throw you off, throw problems in your way, bring you one of their bad children, route them to you to throw you off and get you mentally fucked up because you felt too much for them, because you haven't reached your conscious level yet. There's a lot to this, okay? And I hope in a nutshell I was able to service you guys to have a better understanding where you might be in all of that. If you're on the flower of death and on your way to non-existence, and maybe that's okay for some of you. Maybe you just want to tap out and you're not in hell, but you're not living either. You won't have any existence. And that's the gift of non-existence. That will be coming for those like that. And then maybe there's those of you like, no, I've tasted love, or I want to taste love, and I do want an existence. But I understand that I cannot be unruly. I can't be throwing people under the bus. I can't throw myself under the bus. I got to be part of a system that cares about everybody. Don't mean you got to love them to where, you're so intimate about them, but that you don't wish harm on them, because otherwise that system doesn't work and you can't be a part of it. So if you're not there, my understanding is it quite potentially is just too late. If it's not, you might be able to get a quantum leap in there. I have no idea at this point. I'm a good start. I don't know anybody else that can help you get there as fast as I can. So with that being said, welcome into the new year. There's a lot to that. There's a lot to understand why Jesus doesn't celebrate a day that was to celebrate him with gifts, but yet people got wrapped up in the vanity of their own gifts and they taught their children wrong, when we all know, hey, if we celebrating our birthday, we don't want nobody else fucking getting gifts. Well, some of us, because some of us want to share, right? And or we learn to share. It's okay if we don't start out that way, but Christmas isn't a time for Jesus to celebrate. That's why you see Jehovah's Witnesses not celebrating birthdays or Christmas. Well, I can't speak for them, but I can say this is probably why. Because why would it be a celebration when you are the truly stolen to this realm to be trafficked? And then people say, oh, they're here to lead you home. While they disrupt it and obstruct it like they did for him and they've been doing for me to you guys. So you guys have heard of the first coming, and you have met the second coming, whether you believe it or not, who's in the body of a female, not supposed to be in the body of a man. But that will all be revealed, whether you guys believe it or not. It doesn't fucking matter to me. But I am the second coming. I'm more than the Messiah. And all I can do is wish you well on your righteous path of journey. If you're not there, I suggest you get there quick. Till then, peace and love and happy journeying.